What's going on, beautiful people? It is I, your flying locomotive and faster than a speeding bullet, SuperCliff, coming at you live with a brand new video. And for today's fantastic issue, we have ourselves the beginning of Tom Taylor's third chapter for the critically acclaimed DCeased trilogy, DCeased, War of the Undead Gods. But before we do any of that, if you guys are new to the channel, then smash that subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on the content that's happening on this majestic channel. Also, my goal is to reach 1,000 subs by the end of the year, so if you guys can sub and like the video, that would be amazing. So without further ado, let's jump right into DCeased War of the Undead Gods, issue number 1. Our story begins in a different universe, a universe where Krypton is yet to blow up. Now here within the city of Kandor, we see the origin story of Supergirl play out the same way that we all know and love, where you have Brainiac attacking the city with his army of robots, because as we all know, he's a collector. He wants to capture Kandor in a bottle. And so while you have the total onslaught of attacks that are just happening all across Kandor, Kara's parents bring her to the rocket ship that she is supposed to escape on. However, the only difference here is that she's not being sent to Earth. Rather, the ship will take her to New Genesis, home of the new gods. But remember folks, this is the DCeased universe, so not everyone gets a happy ending. And that's exactly what Kara is about to find out, because she is quickly welcomed by the new gods. But unfortunately, these guys are dead, for they have been infected by the anti-life equation, because it turned out that back in DCeasedDeadPlanet issue number 2, Darkseid, who was patient 0, well, we all thought that he died, but it turns out that he didn't. Instead, Darkseid was actually trapped inside the frozen core of Apocalypse. And because of the new gods Metron, who was smashing the crap out of Mr. Miracle inside of the core, it caused some cracking, thus allowing the crazed Darkseid to break free from his prison, where he went on a road trip to New Genesis. So yeah, he basically killed and infected all the new gods, and thus the new gods begin to devour the crap out of Supergirl. Pretty bleak. Now from there, we skip 5 years into the future on Earth 2. 5 years since the DCeased era began. And for 5 bloody years, pun, the anti-life virus has ravaged the Earth, and people were lost. Friends, family, heroes, and villains, characters whom we all know and love, were gone, just like that. However, a day came when a cure was made, for a vaccine was forged in the fires of Mount Doom. So basically anyone who was infected but still had a body that was functioning, those who are still walking about, they can be cured. People like Green Arrow, Blue Beetle, and Queen Hippolyte, the heroes are curing the DC universe one hero and one person at a time. And seeing that the science was right, because they followed the science, Superman John Kent, Wonder Woman Cassie, and Batman aka Damian Wayne, the DCeased Trinity have themselves a discussion, because with the vaccine proving to be effective, they think it's time to cure Superman. Because in case anyone here has forgotten, Superman got infected back in the original DCeased story. And so in order to keep everyone safe, he basically exiled himself within inside the sun. And so with that, John Kent, Superman, and a group of the strongest heroes that are left show up in front of the Earth's sun. And with the cure in hand, the heroes fight Superman. And their butts are getting kicked because, yeah, Superman is pretty strong. He's Superman. But remember, he's been harvesting the sun for the last 5 years. So he's basically powerful times 3,000. But eventually, after some skill, teamwork, and utilizing the powers of strength and courage, the heroes are able to inject Superman. 2 days later on Earth 2, we pick up with Green Lantern John Stewart and Guy Gardner floating down to give the report to President Lois Lane. And what they tell her is that, there were 2 inhabitable planets nearby, and they all of a sudden just went down in radio silence. So perhaps we should investigate to make sure, that things are okay. But before any order can be given, a boom tube opens up, and out comes the Justice League. But so too does Clark Kent. Clark Kent Superman is back, baby. But Clark isn't the only one, because so too is Pa Kent. And that, ladies and gentlemen, demands for a celebration. And so while Superman and his family are having themselves a load of hugs and kisses, Damian goes to see Alfred, and he tells him about the good news. But Alfred doesn't feel so good about it, because unlike Superman and Pa Kent, their bodies and heads were still intact. Well, back then when the virus broke out in Gotham, Alfred did what he could. He did what he thought was the best in order to protect the people he loved. And so he shot his surrogate sons in the head. He killed Bruce. He killed Tim and Dick, because at that time, that was the only logical and safest way to get things done. No one ever thought that a cure would actually be possible. Yet despite Alfred knowing that it's not his fault, he can't help but not blame his actions. And can I just say that Tom Taylor is a fantastic writer. The way he writes scenes, he does it in a way that's so grounded and relatable, and because of that, we understand Alfred. We know the pain that he's going through, We know the exact feeling he's having. And that's exactly what a writer should do. Have us, the reader, comprehend Alfred's feeling. So yeah, basically, Tom Taylor is a fantastic writer. Moving on. Now, once things are, celebrated, the very next day, the heroes launch an attack against Brainiac, who randomly showed up in Earth's 2 atmosphere. And so we have the Green Lantern smashing Brainiac's probe after probe, until eventually the heavy guns Superman Clark Kent and Jonathan Kent show up to finish the fight. Eventually, once every probe is dismantled, the two Supermen journey inside Brainiac's ship. And alas, the side of horror is showcased because both Supermen discover Brainiac, but he is shown to be no longer a threat because Brainiac is shown to have no lower half. It looks like someone literally ripped the villain in half. But before the comic ends, Brainiac provides us with an ominous warning, for we have to stop them. The gods are dead, but they still come, Kal-El. They will poison the universe. The dead gods will end everything. And that, beautiful people, was the end of DCeased War of the Undead Gods, issue number 1. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly means the world to me. Now, DCeased War of the Undead Gods was a fun little issue that picks up where DCeasedDeadPlanet last left off, where a cure has been made, and because of that, we have some of our favorite characters returning back to the fight. Me personally, I love seeing a cure that can bring back the dead who are still, functioning, and perhaps I just don't know enough, zombie-esque properties, but I feel that curing the infected has not been shown a lot in zombie stuff. So I'm down to see who else, shows up in later issues. Tom Taylor again proves that he's a fantastic writer. I like the ominous feeling that's layering throughout the story. It gives me the chills. But I will say, when it comes to Tom Taylor in his post-apocalyptic worlds, yes, I know it's Marvel, and yes, I know DCeased is already a proven property, but I hope that what happened to Marvel's Dark Ages doesn't happen here. And also the art in this book, it's not terrible, but holy shit, the faces are cringy. They do not look good. I don't want to come off like a dick, but DCeased is a very popular and critically acclaimed series, so you expect the characters and their faces to look good. In the end though, this issue did catch my interest, but I wonder if that has more to do so because the prior stories in this world were already so damn good. Hopefully issue number 2 can be a bit more bombastic in its execution. But yeah, as always, I'm your majestic sayer over at SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 2? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Giggity goo.